Termination of authorized buy-sell agreement, an agreement as to disbursement of earnest money deposit of Greater Kalamazoo Association of Realtors, GKAR. This is a form that will allow an agent to terminate an agreement and also request how the earnest money deposit will be dispersed. In the upper right, you'll see a form number that someone can put in a document number of their choice. Down below, it says authorized buy-sell agreement number. This is the number that you will have on your buy-sell agreement that you will have to refer back to. You'll also want to put the date that's on the actual purchase agreement or buy-sell agreement. And the date will be the initial date of the contract, not when the individuals have signed it. You will also place the address of the property. We agree that the agreement is terminated, null and void, and we relieve each other and the broker from responsibility of any kind upon disbursement by the broker of the earnest money as follows. You'll see down here there's a spot for to seller, to buyer, and to broker. The earnest money deposit you would actually place in here to seller and the amount of money if you wanted the money to go back to the seller. To buyer, you would place the amount of money that you would want to go to the buyer. We authorize the broker to make the above disbursements. This document is effective when signed by all parties. This termination form may be signed in one or more counterparts, each of which will be deemed to be an original copy of this form, and all of which, when taken together, will be deemed to constitute one form. The exchange of copies of this form and signature by facsimile or other similar electronic device shall constitute effective execution and delivery of this form as to the parties, and may be used in lieu of the original form for all purposes. Copies shall be deemed to mean any duplicate, reproduction, or similar or exact imitation of the original executed form. Signatures of the parties transmitted by facsimile or other similar electronic device shall be deemed to be their original signatures for all purposes and shall be deemed valid and binding upon the parties as if their original signatures, initials, and modifications were present on the documents in the handwriting of each party. Neither buyer nor seller shall assert the statute of frauds or non-enforceability or validity of this form because of facsimile or similar electronic device copies being used. And both of the parties specifically waive and relinquish any such defense. Each party agrees to provide an original signed document to the other upon request. You'll see down below where the buyers can sign and date and the sellers can sign and date, along with the brokerage that needs to sign and the agent. Now keep in mind, when it comes to the termination of certain purchase agreements or buy-sell agreements, we typically recommend that a termination be provided to the other party and then an acknowledgement of how the earnest money deposit will be distributed. Unfortunately, there are times where we require a unilateral termination where one party is giving notice to the other and they don't really need approval from the other party to sign off on the termination because it's unilateral. What we will need, though, is to have an agreement from both the buyer and seller on how earnest money will be dispersed. That is required, and if both parties are unable to come to an agreement on how the earnest money deposit will be distributed, that money will sit with the broker or title company until both parties can agree to the disbursement or one party files small claims or court action against the other to relinquish such funds.